today's quick lesson about the benefits of exercise. I will say that my online membership, the CTS membership, the doors are open. We've had a few people already sign up. My membership's action-packed. It's got 4 live classes per week. They can all be done via recording. There's coaching programs, there's help, there's support, and a community forum too, all for a very, very reasonable price. If you are interested, head to coachrab.com and read more about it. So today's lesson is the benefits to exercise. So most people know they should exercise, but they don't always fully understand the huge benefits that you get from exercising. So first and foremost, exercise burns calories, right? It's movement, it's resistance, it gets the muscles going. It's going to cost energy first and foremost. But did you know that when you exercise, particularly resistance training, whilst you burn calories at the time, you continue to burn massive amounts of calories long after the workout has been completed. The reason for that is the main energy source that your muscles utilize is called ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. There's 3 phosphates, right? As part of the energy process, when you're lifting the weights, you're using ATP, and it's burning off each one of those excess phosphates, and eventually they all get filtered back around via the Krebs cycle and you get it all back again, right? But ultimately, when there's a build-up, when there's a decline in ATP and an increase in AMP, which is adenosine monophosphate, so it's adenosine with 1 phosphate, when there's a huge enough ratio in between, the body releases something known as AMP kinase. Now, the analogy I use is that if ATP was an egg, then AMP was the eggshells, so you're cracking the eggs into the pan. Okay, you've got a whole bunch of shells stacking up. When there's too many shells and not enough eggs, or less eggs than there was shells, a hoover comes out to collect up all these shells to then filter them back through the system. When that AMP kinase comes into the system, your body stops fat storage and maximizes fat burning. This is where the term becoming catabolic comes from. It's when the AMP kinase comes into the system and operates that particular task. So even when you finish your workout, you continue to churn up calories at a very high rate long after. This is also why I've always had the question, people come into the gym and they say, right, I want to lose weight, Rab, but should I do my weights first or my cardio? Well, if weight loss is your goal, do your weights first, then your cardio. Of course, warm up, do a bit of a 5-10 minute warm up, then your weights, then your cardio. The reason for that is the weights, because of the strenuous activity, will get you into that catabolic state much quicker than doing the cardio will. If you did the cardio, it might take the entire cardio session to get even close, and then the resistance training afterwards would burn some calories, but not as many. The other way around, you maximize your output. So one of the benefits of exercise is you burn calories long after you've finished exercising. One of the other benefits to exercise is it builds lean muscle tissue. Now, when we talk about build muscle, we think about getting bulk and all this kind of stuff. But lean muscle tissue is exactly as it sounds. It's the muscular tissue on our frame, and we need muscular tissue to help us perform daily tasks. And also, as we age, you want to keep as much lean muscle on your frame as possible, because this helps prevent slips, trips and falls, particularly in the leg area, helps you prevent your push-pull injuries, these sorts of things. So you want as much lean muscle as possible. Now, one of the added benefits to having more lean muscle is greedy. It demands a lot of energy just to be on your frame. And you'll be like, well, why would I want to have lots of muscle then? It's expensive. Well, yeah, that's fine. You're absolutely right. It's a good question to ask. But you think about your daily energy requirements. The more lean muscle you have on your body, the more calories your body needs every day just to remain as it is, right? So from that perspective there, if you're following, let's just say for argument, it's a 2,000 calorie plan, right? You're 2,000 calories a day, then the more lean muscle you have, the more that you're going to balance that out. If you lost a lot of lean muscle, say you did no training, and this is common when people follow low calorie diets with no exercise, the body sabotages muscle. Why? As I said earlier, muscle's greedy, and if you're not giving it enough calories, the body says, well, we can't afford to hold on to this muscle. So it strips muscle along with some fat and probably fluid. So the person feels great, they might drop themselves 20 pounds. But at the end of that 20 pounds, they've got less lean muscle. So the amount of calories their body needs every day is far less. And they try and go back to a modicum of normal eating. And all of a sudden, because they've got less muscle, their body needs less calories, but their brain still wants similar calories to what they eat before, then suddenly they're in surplus. And this is when the weight comes on and then some. Whereas if you lose weight accompanied with resistance exercise, you build up lean muscle. So when you get the weight off, you keep it off. And that's one of the key things to exercise well, particularly if you have a weight loss goal. So we know that it helps prevent against injuries because muscles are use them or lose them. When you use them, the body fills them with nutrients to become strong. They act as stabilizers in the body. Everything becomes a bit stronger. Now you think if you don't train or don't train as often, things like your abs might get weak, which forces your back muscles to rely on certain movements. Then you'll be doing something silly around the house, go to move something, and you hurt your back or you pop a muscle or something disgustingly awful. And a lot of the time it's because the muscles around them are weak. So the benefits to exercise is keeping good, strong muscles to prevent injury. Another amazing benefit to exercise is heart health, right? Now we know that exercise will raise your heart rate, but did you know that exercise also raises your blood pressure? But that's a positive thing. Now think about your blood vessels as like balloons in the sense, right? Now if you never blow up the balloon and then one day you just suddenly decide to blow it up to its fullest, the integrity of that balloon might not be there because it's not been blown up regularly to get that elasticity, right? When you exercise regularly, blood pressure goes up to meet the demand of the exercise that you give it. Now, always you build up gradually, so it's not a shock to the system. But when that blood pressure goes up, along with the increased heart rate, your blood vessels expand. And then afterwards, and you're in a controlled environment, so you usually do 10, 20, 30 minutes as you're building up. Controlled environments, then they come back down. So they expand and constrict again. So vasodilation, if you like. Now, the more often they do that, think of those blood vessels just become nice and flexible. It means that whenever you then create a demand on those blood vessels, they're not going to be restrictive. And if they're not restrictive, it actually helps keep blood pressure lower than it normally would. Because you imagine if you've increased the demand on the heart, it's beating faster, pumping more blood through. Imagine your blood vessels aren't used to relaxing or expanding and they stay nice and firm, and then suddenly the same blood's going through it. That's going to increase the pressure that blood's under. And of course, that blood then filters all around, comes back to your heart under really, really high pressure. So exercising regularly helps your blood vessels, and therefore, because they relax, the vasodilation basically improves overall, so it actually helps blood pressure in the long run. It also, exercise helps push the blood to all your extremities, which has been, studies have shown, have helped combat the onset of Alzheimer's and various brain disorders where lack of exercise and getting the blood to these areas can cause parts of the brain to sadly die, and then people lose memory function and bodily functions and so on and so forth. The key thing is, we know that exercise is good for us. We know we should be doing it, but sometimes our perception of what a workout is can be quite daunting. So we might say, well, yeah, I know I should be working out. I know of all these benefits my doctors told me or different coaches online have told me, but I couldn't do an hour. Well, if you can't do an hour, what can you do? Can you do 5 minutes? Because I guarantee if you do 5 minutes regularly and build up, and you don't have to build up to an hour, by the way. Sometimes my workouts are only 20 minutes. Sometimes little and often is better than gigantic workouts very rarely. So look at what you can do and then build up. And what you can also build into your workouts is maybe you do only 5 minutes initially of resistance training. Maybe you just work one muscle group, legs, arms, whatever it is, and spend the rest of the time stretching, because obviously lengthening those muscles as well, really, really good for you. The key thing is you build that as a habit, and that will absolutely help your overall health. Exercise improves your mood, can improve your sleep. It does lots and lots of magical things. They talk about endorphins. Endorphins they're one of the feel-good hormones. They're actually your body's natural pain relief. So endorphins hit the system to relieve the pain. That's why they leave you feeling good. But they also linger afterwards, which leaves you feeling good after you've finished your workout. You're like, oh, that feels good, and the muscles feel tighter and you're stronger, fitter, faster, healthier. Your recovery rate's more improved as well. So your perception of a workout doesn't have to be this big, long, gigantic thing that takes an hour plus cardio on top, X, Y, Z. Your workout is whatever you can fit in. And work those muscles as hard as you can at that level, but look to progress. And if you can do that, you will absolutely reap the benefits in a very short space of time as well. Sometimes 2 to 3 weeks, you'll notice huge changes. and then you build and build and build. So definitely huge benefits to exercise. If you're not currently exercising, you might want to start thinking about incorporating some bouts of exercise into your daily routine. And if you are exercising, it might sometimes quite good to mix up what you're doing as well, or just change up, either make it a little bit harder here and there, because we follow the principles of exercise, which is RIP. So your exercise needs to be regular. It needs to be intense. Now, that doesn't mean movie montage intense for you. And that's a good sign for it. If you're working the muscles, it has to usually make them burn. That's usually a good sign. So quite intense. And if it's regular and intense, then it'll naturally be progressive, because that's one other thing you have to watch out for with exercise. Your body will adapt to the stimulus you give it regularly. So if you follow the same workout for a long period of time, your body will become very good at that workout. And you'll go in, you'll run through the motions, whether it's in your gym, your home gym, or in a public gym, and you'll run through the motions and it won't have the same intensity. So you need to make sure it's regular, intense, and progressive. Now, as I said at the start, the doors to my membership are open. So I teach live classes every single week. There's 4 of them. On Mondays, we do a kettle blast, which is a resistance routine. It's 30 minutes. You do what you can. People come with varied weight. They take rest when they need to. They ask for modifications. And it's a good, we warm up, and then we typically do 3 sections, cool down. So very popular class, and great for working those muscles, get the frame strong. On Tuesdays, we do a movement-based class, which utilises a kettlebell but isn't necessary or isn't compulsory, and it's designed to make you sweat and, you know, get the steps in, if you like. On Wednesdays, I've got my core floor class, which is a Pilates-based routine designed to build up your core, improve your flexibility and mobility. And on Saturdays, I do the exercise ball routine as well, and that makes use of, you guessed it, an exercise ball to get an all-over body workout, improve your balance, and absolutely blast the core. So it's a really good exercise. All of the routines have modifications, so you do not have to be fit to start. The membership also comes with coaching programs. So at the moment, we're working on the Dial Into December program. So if you signed up today, you would enjoy the benefits of the Dial Into December program. The big one is, the big one is the Launchpad, which kicks off in January. Launchpad is on, is it 10-week course? I think it's 10 weeks or 8 weeks. 8-week course, I think it is. And it's designed to get you going into the new year, building solid habits, taking charge of your nutrition. There's the live workouts they already offer in there. There's mindset tasks based on habit forming. You know, so if your goal is weight loss, weight maintenance, or even weight gain, really, and you want to build solid habits for the new year, then I would strongly recommend the CTS membership. As I said, it all comes with Launchpad and access to all my other programs. So if you are interested in that, just head to coachrab.com and read all about it. So there we are, everybody, the benefits to exercise. So if you're not currently exercising, you maybe want to think about starting now. And the reason I say start now, you better start doing something now before the new year, so you don't leave it until the new year. And if you're already doing exercise, just ask yourself, is it intense enough? If it is, great, crack on. If it's not, look to ways to switch it up, maybe change the routine slightly, go a heavier weight, reduce the rest. There's lots of ways you can do it, make it a bit more intense. And if you are interested in my CTS membership, go to coachrab.com and you can read all about it. Have an awesome week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.